KwaZulu-Natal's Finance MEC, Francois Rodgers, has launched the province's new electronic procurement system. This innovative system is set to transform how the provincial government manages its substantial 158 billion rand budget, with full implementation scheduled for the upcoming 2025-2026 financial year. The department states that this initiative is a crucial measure aimed at combating wasteful expenditure and corruption within government supply chain management. Let's now dive deeper into what this means for KwaZulu-Natal and its citizens. We are joined now by the KZN Finance MEC, Francois Rodgers. A very good morning to you, MEC. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. What does this system bring that makes it different to what we currently have in place, including all of the oversight regulations?
Good morning, Eldrin, and good morning to the viewers. Indeed, I think it's an exciting period for government, because we're trying to build that capable and ethical state that we've been talking about for so long. And I think this is one of the particular methods that we can, in fact, ensure that money, the 158 billion that you referred to, is in fact spent correctly, that we deal with corruption, we deal with fruitless and wasteful expenditure, and that we make sure that every single rand that we spend is directed into service delivery, building our economy, and creating sustainable jobs. I think that, to me, is key. And of course, dealing with corruption and fruitless and wasteful expenditure. We know historically that the supply chain process in government, both at a national level and at a provincial level, is susceptible to manipulation and to corruption and to price fixing. The list is endless. And this is certainly going to deal with that. It's going to stop that. It's not going to be a popular system, but within government, within those officials who think that government is a machine to feather their own mattresses, this is going to stop that.
All right. Okay, give us a scenario. Let's say, for instance, we are procuring desks for a school. How will this system ensure that there is transparency, that the money actually does go to what has been procured, and there is no ballooning of prices?
All right, so that's the first thing that really irritates me. And I normally use a bottle of water as an example. So you'll find one department will pay 10 rand for a bottle of water. You'll find another department, when they procure water, will pay 60 or 70 rand for the exact same bottle of water. Now, that will stop, because the system will determine a value on procurement, and it won't allow more than a 10% margin. So that's going to stop those suppliers out there who come in and load their prices, and we pay more than double for a particular product. What the system also does, it's an electronic system, so it takes the human interaction out of it. So when we want to procure, or when we put something out to tender, the system will determine what needs to be acquired. It will also determine whether the department has the necessary cash to procure, because that's the other problem we face, is departments incur expenses and they don't have the necessary cash to back up. The system will then notify all the suppliers on the database of the tender or of the process for acquisition, and allow those people that qualify to be able to submit their tenders or their quotes. The system itself will then determine who the bid should be awarded to. There will be no human interaction at that stage.
So does that mean that is it the bid adjudication committee would normally be giving their scorecard, and based on the outcomes of that scorecard, would determine who gets the tender? So does that mean that the bid adjudicating committee will no longer be there? They're no longer involved in that process?
Well, they'll be involved in the initial process, looking at the process going forward. But the ultimate issuing of the tender or of the quotation, acceptance of the quotation, will be done on an electronic system.
Yeah, and how do then ensure that with that determination that is being done by the system, that there is no manipulation? And I base this also on What we know that sometimes what happens with people that are procuring for a tender, they have their own meetings on the side and then discuss amounts. This is the amount that I'm going to put on. You put on this particular amount, and whoever becomes the successor or successful out of this application, we find a way around how we're going to split it. So how's the system going to avoid that?
You see, indeed, that's what happens. So a department will put out a tender, an official will get all the tenders, and before the cut-off period, he will look or she will look and see what the cheapest quote is, and then phone a connected supplier and say, look, if you come in at this price, you'll be guaranteed you're going to get the tender or the procurement award. And this will cut that process out entirely. So there is an audit trail, so we can always go back and we can go through the audit trail to make sure that the process was entirely followed. Because what also happens in supply chain and in procurement, documents go missing. This system is all electronic, all online, and we have an audit trail that we can always go back to and check exactly what transpired.
Yeah. Okay. I was asking our viewers this morning about what the alternative to a tender system is, and looking at some of the responses now on X, someone saying that internal capacity to manage and operate such as possible, to can still tender, outsource a small portion of the capacity, but the start must have knowledgeable folks inside it. But what does an alternative to the current tender system look like?
Well, you know, the system has the capacity. So the system's got to be, it's being developed and designed to have the capacity to be able to, without favor in the procurement process, to be able to award a procurement or a tender. And that then removes, as I always say, the human interaction in the supply chain process, which is number one, where there's sometimes a lack of capacity. And number two, that's where all the skullduggery in government happens, is in the supply chain process.
All right. MEC, just a quick one on two current affairs matters relating to the province. The Mercury today, I don't know if you've seen the front page article there. Toyota files a 6.5 billion rand lawsuit against the KwaZulu-Natal government for flood damages. It says that the Department of Transport was responsible for the management and maintenance of the diversion berm, while the municipality owned, managed, and was responsible for the maintenance and control of stormwater management systems for the prospection industrial area where Toyota has its plant. And based on the damages that it suffered during the 2022 floods, they are now bringing this lawsuit against the state. Transnet also being listed there as one of the respondents. What's KZN government's response to this application?
Well, Aldrin, I did see that this morning, and I think eThekwini, the city itself, Transnet, and the provincial government. Obviously, we would need to study the documents before I can make an informed decision. I must say that it comes as an absolute surprise. Not that the MEC of Finance should always be consulted, but I have not heard in the corridors of provincial government any possible legal action from Toyota. So it is rather sad that this then appears on the front page of the media.
So does this mean that the first time that the MEC found out about this was on the basis of this article by the Mercury?
Indeed.
All right. And you don't know of Toyota ever approaching government entities in relation to a possible lawsuit, or even claiming damages because of the floods of 2022?
Certainly not through my office, Aldrin. We've had, as Treasury, we've had a very good relationship with Toyota, because a lot of the vehicles that we procure from government are their vehicles. And as I say, this is the first I saw it was in the front page of the Mercury this morning.
All right. And then finally, MEC, education as well. We understand there was a meeting held with the MEC for education as well as teachers in relation to the resumption of the mid-year exams that were suspended because some schools don't have the necessary resources. A commitment that has been made by the Premier as well, that 900 million rand will be made available. The union saying that that is actually not enough. You need an additional 700 million. I think one of your members actually in the Democratic Alliance in the province had also said that the 900 million is not enough. What's your response as the Finance MEC?
So, Eldrin, this is how it works. When we get our equitable share from National Treasury, it doesn't come in one lump sum. We don't get 158 billion rand paid into our account. It's paid over 12 payments over a year, over the financial year. So what we're doing with the Department of Education is we are giving them advance money for the norms and standards, which is the 900 million. It's not the full amount for the whole year, but we also can't pay that in advance. And norms and standards are also paid in 3 or 4 tranches by the department to the schools. The next tranche will obviously be in November of this year. And obviously, our cash flow is tight, but we'll have to watch that to ensure that we can meet that commitment to the Department of Education in November. But there's certainly no provincial treasury that can pay departments all their money in advance. We don't get our money in advance. And unfortunately, I don't have a vault with surplus cash in the province. I do wish I did.
Yeah, and I guess this is what you also learn sometimes once you are inside. And with this, I want to speak just quickly about the Government of Provincial Unity. Yesterday marked your anniversary. Some of the highs and lows, just briefly.
Well, I must say the lows are having no money. Having taken over a treasury we've got serious fiscal challenges, and I'm afraid there's no silver bullet. We're going to have to remain focused. We're going to have to remain disciplined. And government hasn't been very disciplined, I'm afraid, when it comes to expenditure. So it's a difficult task. I think what the highs for me have been the implementation of some of the cost-cutting measures, and actually seeing the fruits of those policies that we've implemented. This particular procurement tool that's coming out, a dashboard which we've developed, an economic dashboard for departments. These, I think, are all steps in the right direction, but it's going to be a difficult journey to get out of this fiscal dilemma.
Yeah, thank you so much for making time for us. Francois Rodgers is the MEC for Finance in KwaZulu-Natal.